Number 4, find the exact value of each trigonometric function. So we got to find what sine theta equals, what cosine theta equals, and what tangent theta equals, and then we'll find their reciprocal functions as well. As a reminder, the song we've been saying all 6 weeks is psi y, which represents y over h, cos x, which is x over h, tangent is y over x. So I'm going to go over here, and first I've noticed that I have a y value and I have a h value. And accordingly, I have an x-axis, a y-axis, and my angle's in the correct location on the x-axis. So I just needed to find out what x equals. We can find that by using the Pythagorean Theorem. We know that x squared plus y squared will equal our hypotenuse squared. And in this case, I do not know what x is, but I do know that y is 10, and I also know my hypotenuse is 12. So if I multiply these out, I'll find out that x squared is equal to, or rather x squared plus 100 is going to equal 144. And you could just type that in the calculator if you didn't know that, which means, I'm going to write it over here, x squared is equal to 44. I'm going to use, when we do the square root, we always do plus or minus, except for on this, since I'm talking about a distance here, I'm going to label this as being positive. And if you think about it, if we graph this, this angle always connects to the origin. So this value is going to the right. What do I mean by that? That if we graphed it on a coordinate grid, this right here would be the origin, because you always put this connecting to the origin. So this would be a positive x value anyways. So x here is going to be equal to, now the square root of 44, I'm going to just rewrite this as the square root of 4 times the square root of 11. Because 4 times 11 equals 44, and we know what the square root of 4 is. That's 2. So this is 2 square roots of 11. That's my value here. 2 square root 11. So let's get our values. Here, if sine is y over h, and this is 10 over 12, which will reduce to become 5/6. Cosine would be square root of 2, or excuse me, 2 times the square root of 11 all over our hypotenuse, which is 12. And this also reduces, so it'd be square root of 11 over 6. Tangent is y over x, so it'd be 10 over 2 square root of 11. Now we can simplify, and that would become 5 there. But remember, we never leave a radical on the denominator. So not only am I going to cancel, I'm also going to multiply by the square root of 11. So 5 over 2, that right there is going to become, 10 over 2 will become 5. So I'd have 5 square roots of 11 over 11. So those are my values here for sine, cosine, and tangent. When you do the reciprocals, sine's reciprocal is cosecant. You just flip these two. They're reciprocals. So when I flip this, I get 6 over 5. And here, secant, when I flip it, I would have 6 over square root 11. But again, we can't leave that in the denominator, that radical, so I'll multiply by square root of 11, which gives us a value of, I'll write it right here, 6 times square root of 11 over 11, and finally, cotangent. Now, cotangent, it'll be easier to flip this one, because if you've already rationalized, you don't want to use this because you're going to have to rationalize again. Just go back to the original that was unrationalized, flip this one. If we flip this, now remember, the 2 and the 10 will reduce to 5. We would have, instead of 5 over square root of 11, we're going to have square root of 11 over 5. If you're lost just on your own, take this, flip it, and then reduce it, and you'll get this answer. So these would be our 6 trig functions written out here.